Good evening everyone, and welcome to the Planning and Highways Committee meeting today, 12th of February. I would also like to welcome Councillor Maggie Werner, our Mayor. She will be ex officio. She'll be able to join in with our debate, but she's not allowed to vote. Thank you. I've got some housekeeping rules, so bear with me. Thank you to all members of the public, councillors and officers who are joining us for today's meeting. Councillors and officers are reminded of their commitment to civility and respect pledge, and to be mindful of this during tonight's meeting. Please be aware that the Council is video recording this meeting, and this will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. I'd like to just highlight some of the key points of the meeting format. Please can I ask everyone to have their phones turned off or set to silent, please. The fire exits are clearly marked, with primary exit being through the main entrance. In the event of fire, the lift should not be used. The council team will help anyone who needs assistance exiting the building. The assembly points is on the forecourt of HSBC next to Tesco's Express store. Please remain seated unless you are invited to speak or need to take a comfort break. The toilet facilities are out in the corridor opposite the main entrance door you entered through. Members of the public are invited to participate in the meeting with the key points as follows. When the public participation session is introduced, please raise your hand to show you wish to speak. I will invite you to speak. If you are comfortable standing, please do so to ensure you can be heard across the room. Public participation is limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person. You do not need to state your name when you start speaking. I would ask that participants looking to leave the meeting wait until the end of an agenda item to limit distraction for other participants. To all present, please remember to show respect to others in the meeting and avoid interrupting when possible to enable others to follow the meeting. If any councillor feels concerned about any aspect of the meeting or discussion, please clearly state the point of order. I will then gesture to you to elaborate. If anyone present is felt to be behaving unacceptably, they can be ejected from the meeting by resolution. Thank you for listening. On behalf of the Council, I would like to thank everyone for attending this Town Council meeting. There is just one other thing. Anybody here for any planning applications, you're allowed to speak before each planning application. Item 1, apologies for absence. Thank you. Agenda item 2, disclosure of interest. To deal with any disclosure by members of any disclosure of pecuniary interest and interests other than pecuniary interests as defined under the Seaford Town Council Code of Conduct and Localism Act 2011 in relation to matters on the agenda. Public participation to deal with any questions or brief representations from members of the public in accordance with relevant legislation and Seaford Town Council policy. In accordance with Town Council policy, members wishing to speak on individual planning applications may do so immediately before each planning application. So any members of the public would like to speak now. Councillor Dunn.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Chair.
Yes, can I remind you that we have everybody use the microphone?
Oh,
pass around. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to speak on, agenda item 5, page 41, number 3, Seafront, Cricketfield Road, the section between the Martello Fields. The double yellow lines to be put on both sides of the road, currently only being on one. My concern is yellow lines on their own is not enough to restrict the parking as blue badge holders can park on double yellow lines up to 3 hours. What I'd like to put forward is double red line. Committee to take that into account. The reason I want to put this forward as double red lines is this ensures no stopping, parking or loading at absolutely at any time. And my reasoning behind this is because we need the continued traffic flow in this area. Whereas with the double yellow lines, you can still do the drop off and pick up or loading and unloading doesn't really apply. So I'd really like the committee, if they could, instead of the double yellow, to put forward in this parking review, the double red on the basis that we need continuous traffic flow between the two fields. Thank you. I do wish to speak on another item, but that's a planning application. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Anybody else like to speak?
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Thank you. Do you mind if I sit? This is related to item 4 on the agenda, and we request that the committee include these comments on the local green spaces and site allocations, particularly SF1, Chington Field. Natural England have designated Chington Field as a habitat network expansion zone, an area where additional action may be undertaken to build greater ecological resilience across the wider landscape. Following this, the South Downs National Park Authority has included the whole of the field in an area with a natural, nature-friendly action. This action is to improve connections beyond the existing habitat. It is clear both Natural England and the South Downs National Park Authority see the whole field as an essential buffer zone between the built environment and the protected landscapes necessary to help wildlife and build climate resilience. Lewes District Council must have regard to the protected landscape duty, which states functional connectivity is important, where there are flows or close interconnections between the protected landscape and its setting. For example, ecological connectivity, where species are able to move across between the designated and non-designated areas. Moving on, this site will not comply with the proposed strategies, would not deliver low carbon nor conserve the rural nature of the area or assist with the modal shift away from reliance on private cars. Any development on this site will conflict with the aim of the local plan to support tourism and healthy lifestyles. As we will talk about the tourism data in the local plan is from 2008, pre-COVID. Talking about SF1 Chington Field. Policy H1 must be amended to include areas of established character and their meaning from the Seaford neighbourhood plan. This site should be recognised as an open space as this was its designation in the Seaford local plan, and should be permitted to be assessed as a local green space due to the new legislation concerning protected landscape and the exponential increase in tourism. Policy SDS4 states the countryside should be protected from an inappropriate development that would detract from the rural character and landscape quality of the area. Altering the boundary in the Lewes local plan to include this site is strongly against this policy. We need to keep the settlement boundary the same. And finally, the image used in SF1 in the plan does not show the site in its context, as it excludes it from its neighbouring protected countryside. I hope that made sense. Thank you very much.
Agenda item 4. Can we request that the committee includes a submission on green spaces for Chington Field? And firstly, on behalf of Jackie Frost, who can't be here tonight, she's unwell, she spoke to Anna Clare, the Lewes District Planning Officer, who deals with the local green spaces project. The officer agreed that if evidence is submitted now and a request for the field to be excluded from the local plan, then that evidence will be taken into consideration. This is the only and last opportunity for it to be considered until 2042. And then, regarding the submission, number 1, proximity to the community. The location marks a clear and intentional transition between the historic built environment of Chinkton Lane Conservation Area and the open countryside. There's no public access onto the field itself, however the field directly adjoins a public right-of-way, an ancient bridleway which provides a continuous and well-used route from the town into the surrounding countryside. The proximity of the field to this public route means it is experienced daily by residents and visitors as part of the setting and approach to the wider landscape. The start of the field is the point at which people transition from urban into the countryside. Section 2, demonstrably special to the local community. It is the gateway to nationally important landscapes and routes. And when I read the list of places that it's the gateway to, the Seaford Head Nature Reserve, which is an SSI, the King Charles III England Coast Path, the Seven Sisters Cliffs, the South Downs National Park, the Heritage Coastline, the Coast Guard's Cottages, Cookmere River and the Oxbow Lakes, Seven Sisters National Nature Reserve when it's commissioned, the International Dark Night Sky Reserve and the National Trust Land. That's an awful lot of places that it's the gateway to. And while the field itself is not publicly accessible, it forms an essential part of the gateway landscape, experienced by users of the bridleway, including walkers and cyclists, and contributes strongly to the sense of arrival and transition into these nationally important environments. And that's just to reiterate everything that's been written in this submission. I'm repeating some of it, I'm sorry. The visual amenity, beauty and landscape harmony. It's a sense of openness and relief at the edge of the neighbourhood, long views across the working agricultural and downland landscape, and the SDMP state that development on Chinkton Way will be visible from 6 to 10 South Downs National Park viewing points within the National Park. So that's another thing. Biodiversity and local green space value. Chinkton Field supports biodiversity through its continued management as grazed chalk grassland. Its location adjacent to the Seaford Nature Reserve, it functions as a part of a wider ecological network supporting the wildlife movement and habitat connectivity. Sorry, I'm trying to... its importance to wildlife habitat and ecological connectivity cannot be underestimated. And the last thing I want to say is regarding number 3, local in character and not an extensive tract of land. Chinkton Field is clearly local in scale, forming part of the immediate setting of Seaford at the point where the neighbourhood meets open countryside. It is a clearly defined green space with a specific landscape, visual and ecological role, rather than an extensive tract of land. And it forms and adds to the character of this outstanding landscape and gateway to one of the world's most recognised and iconic views. And I'm repeating extremely well written submission. Is there anything else?
Hello, Councillor. I'm here to talk about agenda item number 4. I recently attended a drop-in session at Newhaven with regards to the updated plan. I had many questions in areas needing clarity, plus feedback to share. What I took away from the session is at the end of the day, it's all about evidence and facts. Very good. In our input, our input, and especially the voice of the council, has a major influence on the planning process, thanks to the information we have shared. Whilst there are still many factors I disagree with in the plan, I was reassured that people are listening and our feedback is used to adjust the plan and the housing strategy. The chap points out quite a few things that because of what we've said in surveys and because of what the councillors support us with, they have made changes to the plan. You've heard many emotional speeches from local residents who are passionate about saving Chinkton Field from being developed. I'm sure you're well aware of the vast number of hours being spent collectively researching and campaigning. I'm also aware that the council has invested time and effort to hear from local residents on this matter. Please accept our thanks for setting aside this time and listening. As local people, we have a passion and responsibility to stand up for nature and the environment, not only for residents, but those who travel from around the world to stand and look at this iconic view. We were just listed about 8 or 10 different reasons why they go there. The rationale for the work we have done is to protect the gateway for the iconic view for everyone. We also want to ensure that the future generations will be able to stand and see the amazing view. The residents are immensely grateful for the invaluable draft response to the local plan prepared by the planner, and we hope that all members of the committee will agree that she has done our town proud, summarising all of the information provided to a clear, well-written response. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair and everyone. I'd also like to speak on agenda item 4 and request that the committee includes a couple of further points on the visitor economy. So first of all, the East Sussex, Brighton Hove, West Sussex Local Visitor Economy Partnership for the region is aiming to grow the visitor economy in Sussex from 5 billion to 7.5 by 2034, which is quite an achievement for them. The visitor economy section is a major employer in Sussex, employing around 14% of the people in our area, when the average in England is only 11%, so we have a much higher number of people employed in the visitor economy. The South Downs National Park Authority track visitor numbers by data software, and they've reported a clear trend of increasing visitor activity since 2022. Visitor peaks in August and December, and the increasing trend in visitor numbers at South Barn reflects the same trend along the heritage coastline. One tour company alone, that's based in Asia, estimated 4,000 to 5,000 people would view the Seven Sisters from South Barn in 2024. This year, they estimate over 15,500 people will come on coaches every day of the year to view this, and they are looking at putting on 2 full-size coaches in addition. TikTok is what appears to be driving the trend of the international visitors to South Barn. Lewes District Council do state that tourism data demonstrates that the tourism economy continues to be a significant contributor to the overall economy of the district, and therefore this should be appropriate planned for and considered within the plan area. But how can they do this when they are using data from 2018? So policy 7, E7 rather, states development proposals on their own or with other development uses must not prejudice or disadvantage people's enjoyment of other existing and appropriate tourism and recreation activities. However, Lewes District Council must understand tourism to Seaford before they disadvantage tourism to Seaford, Lewes District and Sussex with the site allocation of SF1, which is the gateway to all these views. Furthermore, they state in policy E7 that development proposals that generate significant additional pressure upon the surrounding rights-of-way network will be required to mitigate these impacts. We would ask that there should be addition that if sites that are near iconic places, that development proposals should and must be declined. Wiltshire, for example, which is close to Stonehenge, has a dedicated tourism policy with their objective to promote tourism. However, what they finished with at the start of their tourism policy is that they want to focus on the quality of life for its residents as well. All of the above demonstrates that with no up-to-date data or visitor study, the local plan of aiming to support tourism and healthy lifestyles will be difficult to achieve and probably totally unachievable until they understand the tourism that is coming to our town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I'll go after.
Hello, Chair. Thank you, councillors. I'd like to speak tonight on the water projection. The South East is running out of water. According to the Environmental Agency, England needs almost 5 billion extra litres of water a day by 2050 to maintain water supplies. More than half of that, 2.6 billion litres a day, is needed in the South East. The Water Resources Management Plan 2020 to 2018 Strategic Environmental Assessment Environment report states tourism adds to population pressure, especially in coastal areas during the summer, when demand is generally highest. Notable tourist areas are along the south coast, including Eastbourne, Seaford and Newhaven. Tourism adds to population pressure, especially in coastal areas during the summer, when demand is generally highest. The Seven Sisters National Nature Recovery Reserve project came from the need to protect the chalk aquifers. The SSNNR aims to improve nature across the wilder area and will help ensure the nearby towns of Seaford and Eastbourne continue to receive clean, plentiful water. Sequential and exceptional tests, Phase 2, Regulation 18, December 2025, Policy W1, flood risk and flood management. On Figure 4, groundwater is marked as NA. I presume that means not applicable. This relates to the classification risk level of different flood risk sources. So groundwater does not appear to have a risk of excess. The government defined groundwater as all water which is below the surface of the ground in saturation zones and in direct contact with the ground or subsoil. Aquifers are a surface layer or layers of rock or other geological strata of sufficient porosity and permeability to allow either a significant flow of groundwater or the extraction of significant quantities of groundwater. How can groundwater flooding be not applicable when most of Seaford is in or close to an aquifer? The British Geological Society states that the costs and impacts of groundwater flooding in the UK are significant and almost certainly underestimated. Chington Field scored 5, low risk, and therefore sequential and exceptional tests are not required. ESCC SUT's report states that Chington Field is at risk from groundwater flooding which could affect the operation of any surface water drainage work. This site is also upstream of an area that is at significant risk of surface water flooding, and we would not want to see this increased. Environmental agencies' main map of flood risk from surface water shows a high risk, as this is the lowest point in the valley, Chington Road, and shows a high risk of flooding across Chington Way, junction with Darlington Way. Guys, I've only been here 2 years, and I can truly assure you that we have flooding down Chington Way. My drive is always flooded. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. I'd just like to ask the council please to support the Bowden Rise Green Friends of to support our bid for LGS status for Bowden Rise Green. So that is one submission that we made as a joint submission for all residents on the grounds that it's very special to the community.
Thank you.
Susan, do you mind repeating that? Because you took your microphone to you, I couldn't quite hear what that said. Sorry.
Sorry, but just to ask
Turn it
the...
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I haven't touched it since I took it.
Just bring it closer. I did hear.
Okay. Yes, I'd just like to ask the council to please support the submission that we put in for Bowden Rise Green to become a local green space. And that submission was from all the residents of Bowden Rise Green as a joint submission to the council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I'd like to address the council regarding planning application.
Well, can I stop you there? Because I'll invite you to speak prior to the planning application being discussed by the committee. So at the moment it's on non-planning application. So when we get to that...
Is it parking?
When we get to the... parking, sorry. Sorry,
I'm here to that side.
Okay, thank you.
So, okay, with regard to parking,
Yeah.
I'm living on Hall Park Road. I'd like to talk about the proposal to have double yellow lines along one side of the road. As I'm sure you're aware, the road is serviced by the local 120 Cookmere bus that has to for lack of better term, slalom through parked cars. This sometimes is not able to happen because, well, of poor parked cars, meaning it has to turn around and double back. I'm always in favour of supporting the double yellow lines on one side of the road to be able to maintain service as it is. Okay. Also, with regard to parking, regarding disabled spaces at Bishopstone Station, as you are aware, it is now a thriving community hub with various classes, including exercise to maintain flexibility and mobility in, well, the more advanced years. Sorry, trying not to be my grader. And not all of them are able to access the steps down the alleyway from Hall Park Road to the station, or manage that going around Hall Park Road and up Station Road Hill. This is why I feel that disabled spaces are needed outside front of stations to make getting into the building easier and to help people assist down to the platform, because whilst they may not be able to handle longer roads going incline or decline, a short flat bridge and some stairs may be quite doable for them. And also, it would help with the neighbours to the station, who sometimes have cars parked over the white line in front of their driveway because people cannot park further away to access the station. And I think that's all.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Good evening, everyone. Item number 4, Chinkton Field. Chinkton Field supports biodiversity through its continued management as grazed chalk grassland, with cattle and sheep maintaining habitat diversity, preventing scrub encroachment and supporting species-rich grassland. The management also contributes to soil health through natural nutrient cycling and improved structure. Its location, adjacent to Seaford Head Nature Reserve, SSI, National Trust Land and South Downs National Park, allows the field to function as part of a wider ecological network, supporting wildlife movement and habitat connectivity. A habitat survey in an adjoining garden has recorded species including badgers, bats and foxes, confirming the ecological value of the immediate area. As a proposed local green space, the protection of this grazed chalk grassland would help safeguard biodiversity, support ecological resilience and sustainable agriculture, and deliver clear public benefit consistent with the local green space objectives. In the site allocation policies document, there is likely to be the presence of protected species also. To add to that, you may be aware that a report has come out recently about our food security, and the UK is in a very poor state, and keeping hold of fields such as this may well be useful in providing food for us or supporting things that help give us food. Thank you for your time.
Just further to Hall Park Road, I have submitted evidence to the planning email address, and it's in addition to the problems with parking that's happened is people are parking on the pavement, and so wheelchair users, crowds and just general public are having to walk on the road. And I've highlighted this to highways, and they said they're unable to do anything because there's no enforcement on main roads and we have to report it to the police. But by the time the police come and do anything, it's too late. Those people are walking on the road around anywhere. So I think that's another point to add to the parking review, please. But you have already got that. I'd also like to speak about item 4 and the local plan and Chipton Field. And whilst people have mentioned that access to the building of the field will be via the slip road or the bridleway, there is actually a highways document from the original application that demonstrates that access to the field will be off Chipton Way directly onto the field. But I wondered, has the council and councillors considered what effect planning officer determining whether planning will be granted, have they considered what will happen if the £10,000 that was agreed last week at full council is spent on removing the agricultural covenant at Southfield Dam to allow that to be developed? Will that have any effect on Chipton Field? Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak at this point?
One addition to the point Michael was making about the double yellow line proposed to Hoff Park Road. On half of Hoff Park Road, which is particularly narrow, at the moment a lot of people are parking with one wheel on the road and one wheel right across the pavement. So if anyone has a push buggy or wheelchair, it's impossible to get through on many days through the lower part of Hoff Park Road. So as well as improving the traffic flow for the 120 bus, it will help pedestrians, particularly disabled and people using buggies and other pedestrian vehicles. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you. Right, now it's open to the committee to debate agenda item 4, Lewis Local Plan Phase 2, with the final draft response. If you want to add any more to it, thank you, Lizzie, for the work you've done. And as I say, all members of the public, all your input, it has helped tremendously. It's nice that we can be involved with you as well. It's helped a great deal. Thank you. Okay, so open to the committee. Who'd like to read on this? Councillor Hanneman.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to say thank you very much to the residents for all the additional work they've been doing. So thank you very much. Is it possible to capture all the extra comments that have been made? Is that for you? Okay, through you, Chair. So I have captured those points, because some of you have very helpfully already sent me those points, so thank you very much. I've made a note sort of what they are title-wise, so maybe we could go through them. I wonder, have you got anything specific you want us to look at? If we're like, each question of the survey, or are you quite confident that we've got that? Okay. Back to the survey though, it was also brought up tonight that one of the questions that we have on our survey that you've seen in my draft report is actually very different than the question that Lewes District Council has on its online form. So I do think the committee will need to actually consider that question on its own tonight in this setting, which puts you a bit on the spot. But I could maybe hand back over to the chair and have a bit of a discussion on that one. It's question 3. So basically on the survey that I downloaded from their website, question 3 is different to what their survey electronically says. We will also make that point to them. We'll put in a complaint about that. But I think tonight we do need to have a discussion about that question. So just to clarify, what we have currently that you've seen in the draft report, the question is, give me a second, question 3. The question that we draft answered is do you agree with the approach to phase the occupation of development in accordance with the delivery of critical infrastructure related to transport, utilities, education and health? The question that they have online is, do you have any comments or concerns about whether essential infrastructure, in brackets schools, doctors, transport and utilities, can keep pace with the proposed level of growth? So it's quite different. It's similar, but it's not what we've answered, and I'd like to suggest that we have a conversation and have an answer to that, because I don't want us to miss that one out, so I'll hand back over to the chair.
Thank you. So, anybody want to respond on that question? We might have to repeat the question. Now, Seaford. Right. The question is, do you have any comments or concerns about whether essential infrastructure, for example, schools, doctors, transport and utilities, can keep pace with the proposed level of growth? Councillor Webber.
I chaired the first public consultation meeting about Chiltern Field, and I attended the second. So I have been...
Turn it up.
It's on the floor, maybe.
Oh. Can you hear that?
No.
Is that any better?
Yeah. Yes.
So I have been actively involved and as an audience member to pick up the vibes and the feelings about this. And I think what I'm picking up is that we simply do not have the infrastructure. If we are designated as a district centre, which is where we are supposed to have all the things that serve the community, bearing in mind we are nearly 25,000 people here, we are supposed to have functioning public transport, we're supposed to be having functioning utilities, we're supposed to have functioning health services. We do not. We can't catch up with things because we are years behind what we, the residents, should have. We do not have the health services, and I speak as a retired doctor, and I know that we have not been meeting the health needs of this population for 20 years. We do not have the wastewater. In one of the meetings, there was a description that it would take 3 years to get the wastewater systems up to what we require now. We have good bus services, but we do not have particularly good train services because we don't have through trains to London, for example. So the idea that we are even looking after our residents and meeting the need, bearing in mind we are an increasing population, is untrue. The idea that we should simply be able to carry on coping with incoming numbers is fatuous. And we must, in our strongest possible words, say this is not fit for purpose. We should not be designated as a district centre. And that might sound like it's nitpicking, but it means that the density of population, of building density, changes because we are expected to have the highest possible numbers of 50 per hectare because we are designated as this district centre. And I think we need to challenge this at the basic definitions of being a district centre. And that
Thank you. I just wanted to add, as one of many people, I was going to pick on transport, as one of the many people who don't live east, who don't work east or west, and have to go north to go to work. That, like just last week, there was the awful incident on the A27, which closed westbound for quite a number of hours, and the roads just cannot cope. What with Alfrist was obviously closed because of flooding, it just makes it really difficult. So to put more buildings here, obviously I understand we have to build more, but I just think the road layers just can't cope with currently what's going on. I know it took me 2 hours to get to work, because I had to weave through back roads and everything to get to North Brighton. We are short of health facilities. we just don't, the infrastructure there, the flooding is bad, there's areas of Seaford that still flood really badly. To put more and more into Seaford and say about the infrastructure, it's just not there. I mean, I don't have children, but I know others have said there's real difficulty getting hold of school places, getting hold of doctor's appointments. So, yeah.
I agree entirely.
Councillor Buchanan.
Okay, first. Okay, thank you, Stacey. Yeah, look, I'm just, even the notes that you've made, if I may say, for that question 3, a lot of those are still relevant to the alternative question. But the points that have been made by my colleagues here, I agree entirely. Couldn't have said better.
Thank you. Councillor Richard Campbell.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Actually, when you speak into this, it doesn't actually, you're not sure it's coming through. Anyway, thank you, Chair. A couple of things, yes. I mean, the previous neighbourhood plan and the previous local plan were both published in 2020, so 6 years later, we still haven't got. A lot of what's been indicated in what we heard tonight is still basically in both those documents from that particular time. And one of the residents talked about tourism. Obviously, tourism is a massive part of the economy, and it has different, for example, it has different responsibilities at different levels of council, including this level, but obviously at the county, national park, and also like the assessors as well. So it comes in different guises, but it's how that gets managed by that particular and organisations actually do that. And you do fear with what's coming down the local government organisations, some of this lot might get missed anyway. Because a couple of other points, local green spaces, I think obviously that's evolved since it's come in since about 2012 to about now, how it gets designated, how all the methodology and so on. So I think that has evolved over the years. And I think obviously, I'm happy with what you're putting in today. It can always be discounted by the district council if they don't see fit to what's basically there. So that's one other thing. I did have one other point. No, I'm happy with what I've said so far. The district centre is an interesting one because lots of other towns will probably be similar. We haven't got infrastructure to do certain things as well in the district, but Seaford's always been deemed as being a major centre. Now you could argue that one way or another. Otherwise, it really will be a dry water if we let it. So you have to be careful how you define what Seaford really is. So on that note, I'll shuttle the microphone back to you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Baldwin. Councillor Baldwin.
Thank you, Chair. Obviously, with regards to question 3, not only is it our GPs, it's our dental services. We have a severe lack of dental services. Anyone wanting an NHS dentist generally will not get one. But our schools, because we're building, especially like Newlands development and large family homes in this area, having more families move in, people aren't getting their children into the local schools. They're starting to have to travel to Eastbourne, to New Haven, even to Lewis to get into a local school. And with more and more housing, this will become worse over time. So it definitely needs to go in. The infrastructure just isn't going to keep pace with the growth that we're having. I think obviously residents have mentioned about the local green spaces and how that we need to include extra on that in our representation on that, just from the emails that we've had from local residents recently as well.
Anybody else? The committee is recommending to 1, note the contents of the report, 2, to record a note of thanks to many residents who have contributed valuable evidence, comments and concerns which have aided the town council in its final draft response to phase 2 consultation on behalf of the town, and 3, should we do those two first? Yeah, okay. So if we can take those first two, so can I have a proposer and seconder, please? Councillor Foreman and seconded by Councillor Richard Hunterman. And can I have a show of hands, please? Thank you. So 3, 2.
Yeah, sorry, so through you, Chair. So at the moment we've got to agree to finalise the Town Council's response to the Lewis Local Plan Phase 2 consultation questionnaire. I think with this one we'll be looking for someone to put a proposal forward to include, if the committee wants to, include the points that were brought up at this meeting at the beginning. So we've got the points on tourism, we've got points on the habitat network expansion zone, and then there were some further habitat points. About water, about aquifers, and there was a point about food security as well. So if someone's happy to propose, that gets included. And then, sorry, I just realised then we also need to add the points about question 3 where we've got the differing question.
Yeah.
And then I suppose you would need to consider delegating that I go away and work on that.
Councillor
Yes. Thank you, Isabel. Yes, I would like to propose that, the amendments, the additions, the comments made on groundwater. I'd like to propose all of the additional things, and I would like to add my thanks as well, for all the work that you have done on this. So, yes, I would like to propose.
Was that not a seconder? Councillor. Okay, can I have a show of hands, please? That's unanimous. So, 4, to agree to finalise Seaford Town Council's response to the site allocations in Seaford. Anything to add to that?
So I think we just need to do the same because some of the proposals tonight will affect the site allocation response as well. So some of the points that were brought up we can include in there. So I think we need to propose them.
Yeah. So does that find a proposer? Councillor.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
I know it's obvious, Chair, but can you actually say the current neighbourhood plan? At the moment, they think that's been updated as well. You see what I mean? Or you just state the obvious at the moment, it says using the neighbourhood plan. It does.
Sorry, you're talking about what's written?
Yeah, what's written there? It just says for submission, it uses the neighbourhood plan, local green spaces, as I expect you to do. Oh, it's on 4, sorry. I thought we moved on, sorry, I apologise. So anyway, I haven't got to say what I'm going to say on number 5 then, so sorry about that.
Yeah, so who's going to second number 4? Councillor Buchanan. So,
Just make sure we second it.
can I have a show of hands? And that's unanimous. 5, to agree to share the evidence collated to inform the Seaford neighbourhood plan, local green spaces, designations and submit them as part of this consultation to confirm the Town Council's support. Okay.
So, sorry, Chair, to be honest, I suppose it will depend if there's a proposal to include current.
Well, it is cut by default, but it might make it clearer, that's what I was trying to say. But if you don't feel that it's
Just want to Councillor Bowman.
Thank you, Chair. It is our current neighbourhood plan. We haven't even started looking at a revised neighbourhood plan, so I think it's obvious. But I would like to just add the Bowden Rise green space that obviously our residents have submitted their own submission. If we could support them with that as well, please. So that's my proposal to...
Okay. Right. Do you want me to read out 5 again, committee? Right. To agree to share the evidence collated to inform the Seaford neighbourhood plan, local green spaces, designations, and submit them as part of this consultation to confirm the Town Council's support. Can I have a proposer? Councillor Homan. Seconder, Councillor Lord. A show of hands, please. And that's unanimous. Thank you. 6. To delegate authority to Community Engagement and Democratic Services Manager to submit evidence and support from the Town Council in relation to the local green spaces identified in pathology and requested by residents. And you want to add to them? Councillor Lord. To increase the bound. Yeah. Okay. So does that have a proposer? Councillor Bowman, seconder, Councillor Homan, and a show of hands, please. That's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you everybody for coming. If you want to continue, stay with us, you're most welcome. Okay, we know better to resume. Thank you. I'm going to hand over to our town clerk, Steve Hill. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. So, in the absence of the head of place, I'm presenting the paper this evening about the parking review. So, every 14 to 16 months, as the paper says, East Sussex County Council do a parking review on each district and borough's parking. This is on-street parking only, not car parks. And they invite residents and town and parish councils to respond to request any changes to the regulations or provisions for parking across the district. The results of the paper have come from a month-long survey we did with residents on the internet and also an informal meeting with councillors that was held recently. We've tried to pull together what we're proposing to respond to East Sussex before the end of February for them to take into consideration in their review of Lewis District parking, and I'd welcome any questions.
Over to the committee. I think some of you were at the meeting last week, which was very helpful. So comments from that meeting has been included into this report. So any further comments do you want to add to it? Councillor Young.
Yes, thank you, Chair. On to item number 3 on, page 41, when it was mentioned about turning I was the one who suggested that the double yellow lines were on both sides, because I know how difficult it is in the height of summer to actually get down that road. You've got it one side, but of course the thing I'd forgotten, and I should have remembered, is if you have a sale badge, you can go park on the double yellow lines. So the proposal about putting double red lines, is that possible if we could change that option? Can we put forward that as an amendment for that, it gets changed to double yellow red lines? Is that possible on both sides? Because anyone who lives around that area knows that in the height of summer, that area, if that is blocked, it makes it really difficult to get one way or the other.
That's where bus comes along as well?
Yes.
The one question.
Yes. The bus comes that way as well, and then also Chair, the comments that was made about Horse Park Road. We can capture those as well. And then there was also about the station road at Bishopstone. It was suggested about putting it was a resident who suggested about disabled parking at the train station. When we looked at the pictures, I'll pass back over to
Thank you. So just taking those three in turn, obviously councillors are able to make propose an amendment to change the response for Cricketfield Road into double red lines. Yeah. I don't know if that's legal. I imagine it is, but it would be up to East Sussex to decide if that's something which is suitable or not. The disabled bay outside the Bishopstone station is already there as a suggestion, item number 14 in the appendix. And the Horse Park Road, I'm slightly unsure what amendment you were suggesting.
Thank you. I was just suggesting amendments with the residents that mentioned about the parking. I suppose, sorry, I probably didn't capture enough of the comments made by the residents, and obviously if anyone else can remember the comments that the residents made, because obviously they're not allowed to speak now because we're in, but are other councillors allowed to speak who aren't on the committee?
With the Horse Park Road one, I think it should mention Hall Hill going into Horse Park Road, because that is where the problem really lays. And 2 or 3 weeks ago the bus could not get through because of the parking of certain vehicles, and the grass verges are just all mud. So I think Hall Hill / Hall Park Road needs to, so it sort of catches that pinch point.
Through the chair, I mean, it's up to the committee whether or not we want to add to the end of recommendation 2 to delegate power to myself to amend, make additions as discussed in the meeting, or if you want to add further detail to the recommendations. The former is probably the quickest way to do it, because the recommendations don't go through each of the proposals, because there's too many. So if you wanted to just add to the end of recommendation 2 to delegate power to town clerk to make changes as discussed in the meeting.
Yeah.
But obviously I can't recommend that. I can't recommend that amendment.
Sorry, I can't have.
Before you vote on it, it's on the top part of Cricketfield Road, not where the houses are. It's the bit between the multi-fields.
Councillor Hunt.
The piece on Cricketfield Road was the road that is between the 2 Martello fields. So it's one side is double yellow lines, and one of the suggestions that we came up with last week was to double yellow line the other side. If the suggestion that has been made is to make double red lines, could we put a proposal for that if we can't have double red lines both sides, can we at least have double yellow lines the other side? So if we can't have the double red, can we at least have the double yellow lines both sides? If that can be put forward as a proposal then, because I don't want to miss out on that option.
Absolutely, we can make that amendment. Just to clarify, are you saying that you want double red lines on both sides, or the current double yellow lines are on one side to remain and the other side added with red lines, or are you saying you want both sides to be double red lined?
If it's possible, if that's something that's allowed, but I don't know highways regulations to know whether that's allowed or not allowed.
Through the chair, I mean, I can put that forward. It's up to East Sussex to decide.
Thank you. Councillor Gorman.
Thank you, Chair. I had a quick Google because I didn't know the difference between red lines and yellow lines, but disabled badge holders can still stop on double red lines, so it's not going to stop. So that, just to clarify that.
Councillor Richard Flanagan.
Yeah, thanks. I'm a little bit concerned about talking about double red lines at the moment. We haven't got clarity about where we're meant to be using it, so there are a lot of ifs and buts now at the moment. If you can't do it, then we'll do this. You can't do it, then we'll do this. And I mean, for example, red routes are mainly used as major bus and commuting routes. So that's normally a major road, not on a residential side road. Red routes are marked by red line on double sides of the road. Double red lines mean that the rules and regulations apply all time and all day. So I think one of the residents was talking about in on a residential area doing double yellows on the approach down to the seafront. Well, I think some of them don't have any car parking spaces in their own houses anyway, so they wouldn't be able to park their cars on any side of the road if you're going to start doing red lines. So at the moment, I think we need to hold fire about the use of red lines until we get some clarity if the parking review is going to include that in any way. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments?
Through the chair, if I may, I just looked up the red line rules. It says double red lines allow licence taxis or blue badge holders to stop to pick up and set down passengers, but there's a distinction that they're not allowed to park there. So there is a difference between what disabled badge holders can do on yellow versus red. They can stop to pick up or set down, but they can't park. That helps.
Okay. Are you still sticking with your red lines?
If the red line option is to avoid park, will give it more restrictions to be able to park, then yes, I'm going to propose. Yes, and apparently fines are steep, often around £160, reduced to £80 if you pay within 14 days. So, if that's possible.
Thank you. Any other comments or additions to what we've got on the report? No? And so, right. You are recommended to 1. Note the contents of the report and appendices. 2. To agree with the Town Council's submission to the Sussex County Council with...
But the rest of it, subject to the further comments that were made at the committee.
Yes, sorry, Chair. I just read some of my notes. That we had a resident email us yesterday, and I picked it up this morning, saying they emailed us about the consultation that was being done and about the pay and display, and had we asked East Sussex County Council how they're going to manage the brideway as it acts as an overspill. They sent an email to all of us, 3.7D. So I just wanted to raise that because we'd had a resident email us all on the planning committee. And I just thought, didn't raise that up. So is that something we can ask East Sussex County Council?
Through the chair, my understanding is that as that road is a right-of-way and a privately owned right-of-way, East Sussex don't enforce on that road. That's my understanding, and I don't think that they're going to start doing so.
Councillor Vaughan has just pointed out 3.7D, a request for East Sussex County Council to look how to mitigate the impact of the recently approved trial pay and display at Saville Barn, which is anticipated to potentially lead to displaced car parking along Chiltern Lane. That sort of answers.
The question was about what do we get the council to do about the right-of-way rather than changing it.
Councillor Richard Holman.
I'm sorry. I'm still So I'm still concerned about the lead routes and everything, because from what you've described, they're not major bus routes as far as I can see, so they won't get implemented anyway. So that's a double lead lines, they would just get discounted. There's no harm in putting it in, but I can't see it going any further. So I'm sure the residents, if they can't park at all, and they've got double red going down the edge of the road, I'm sure we get a lot of opposition to it. So thank you.
Thank you. Right, so to agree the Town Council's submission to East Sussex County Council to be fed into the upcoming review of Lewis District on-street parking with the...
You need to find a proposer to include the subject to the inclusion of the points that were raised in the meeting.
Right, to include... Sorry.
Subject to the inclusion
of the points which have been raised this evening. So can I have a proposer on Councillor Olivia and seconded Councillor Buchanan. And can I have a show of hands, please? That's unanimous. Do we have to go back? Do we have to go back to it? Yes, I did. Oh, yeah, we did. Okay, so that concludes agenda item 5. Thank you, everybody. Agenda item 6, planning applications. Planning and tree works applications permitted to consider and comment as statutory consultees are as follows. Planning application, first of all, are members happy for us to do the land at the Hall Surrey Road first? Yes? Okay. Planning applications received in the week commencing Monday the 5th of January. LW/25/0711, land at the Hall, Surrey Road, planning permission in principle, construction of 7 family dwellings. Any members of the public would like to comment on this application? Yes, sir,
Testing. Yeah, start. Okay, so first of all, I refer to you that this is not the first time a planning application has been made on the land in question. I believe this is something like number 9 or something. I may be wrong, but do feel free to double check, but certainly not first, and possibly not the last time. This is also the same land in question as proposed for the green space expansion on page 52, I believe. I may be wrong, of the Lewis local plan proposal. That's the expansion of the green space from the brickfield across the railway line to the application site in question. Also, if you acknowledge a response not only from Councillor Leslie Boniface, who supports the local residents, who objected to the planning application, which I believe does not have a single support on the Lewis site, but has also engaged with the public, and to date has 90 petitions, I believe, approximately. So when combined, I believe this shows a strong feel from the local people in the area that the building should not be permitted there. Also, it's referring to an article published by the Argus, in 22, that Rigdon is quoted as saying there is no wildlife in the area. This is incorrect in that one of the properties on the road bordering the land in question had a wildlife camera, trail cam, whatever you want to call them, and has footage of badgers, and if you extend the looking at wildlife to the brickfield, then there's footage of hedgehogs and badgers in the brickfield as well. So are we really to believe that that wildlife does not go from one to the other when the wildlife in question is protected? Also finally, whilst trying to find a list of what plants and fauna are on the site, we could not find any wildlife surveys at all. I mean, we tried numerous routes, asking fellow councillors like Imogen, again Leslie, and trying various forms of Google, but most we can find is a survey of the brickfield that does label species of plant and animals as rare. It is for these reasons that me and other local residents, not just on Side Road, but Horse Park Road, Horse Close, and various other roads, and the flats at bottom of Side Road are, as far as I'm aware, all objecting to the building on there. And also, finally, if we are a bit confused that the extension, the Lewis plan proposal changes, if they do go ahead, would this mean that the green space inside road would be given the same protection as the old brick field? Because we tried looking it over, and to be honest, the jargon is a bit confusing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Two quick points to add there. The Brickfield site and the land that we're talking about now are connected by a drainage tunnel, and certainly aquatic life, frogs, other water animals do come through there. So wildlife do come through there, so there is a direct connection. When we're thinking of the green, of that being a whole green space, that whole valley, that is the natural, it's also the local government division between Bishopstone and Seaford, with the Bishopstone parish boundary being at the very edge of that land. And I think that's our last little green space between, as much as we love you in Seaford, Bishopstone is still separated. And if that is filled up, we will be completely part of the new metropolis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm the councillor for our area, and a lot of residents have contacted me, as you might expect. So one of the things I wanted to know was whether the railways have been consulted, because obviously that railway line goes right through. And one of the residents has highlighted to me that there could be structural damage to the embankment that the railway line sits on. And I see no reports from the railway people as to whether any development would impinge on the railways. So can we make sure that we ask Lewis to consult and find out what effect it might have? And the other thing is, there wasn't any reference in the local plan to the spatial strategy for development, phase 2 regulation 18, where the brickfields and the Surrey Road where this building site is proposed, it's now going to be outside of the settlement boundary, and we need to make sure that we are supporting that new change so that those two sites are not in the settlement boundary. I know some people have got confused thinking that by taking it out of the settlement boundary that's a bad thing, but it's a good thing. So can we please make sure we support it in the local plan? I haven't seen it noted anywhere. I can send you the document if you wish.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, as we all know, I'm sure members know, that this site, which was split into two, is a designated local green space. It's in Seaford Neighbourhood Plan, which is right up to 2030. I have here the examiner's report at the time of the neighbourhood plan, and this is what he wrote. Site 8 split into two parts, land at the old brickfield and land adjacent to 47 Sally Road. Whilst the second of these areas not publicly accessible, both sites appear to share various characteristics identified in supporting evidence, and I noted the presence of wildlife around the ponds that appears as a significant feature adjacent to Surrey Road. Taking account of all these factors, I am satisfied that there is sufficient evidence to demonstrate that Site 8 is dimensionally special to the local community and that it holds a particular local significance. I am satisfied that Site 8 meets the relevant national policy test. And he also goes on to say, the management of development within areas of local green space will be consistent with that for development within green belts, which is not allowed to be built on. I would appreciate all members have access to this examiner's report. It's in the neighbourhood plans documentation, so I'd like it to be taken into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, through the chair, I just thought I should make the point that this is a relatively rare example of a permission in principle application rather than a proper permission. And the scope of a permission in principle is only related to location, land use and the amount of development. Anything which is technical, design, layout, ecology, etc. isn't needed to be included in it. And that's probably why they haven't gone into detail about various other functions. And the other thing to say as well is that South East Water appeared not to have been consulted because the response from Southern Water lays out that they're not the company that provides the water. And I don't know whether or not we can make a point about the fact that South East Water appear not to have been consulted.
Thank you. Right, now it's over to the committee. Who would like to lead on this application? Right. Councillor with your hand.
Thank you, Chair. I remember a couple of years coming in, being in your garden and looking at the site when it had first been cleared, which everyone was clearly not happy about. I also took some notes as well, and in the local plan consultation that's been done and the secondary assessment of small sites, the Wall Surrey Road is noted as being not deliverable or developable. The site is greenfield within the planning boundary of Seaford, and as Sylvia said about in the Seaford neighbourhood plan as local green space. So I wouldn't be happy to suggest that this is that we gave planning permission in principle. It wouldn't be that's proposal to not give planning permission in principle. That's fine.
Chair, I'll second that. There's no point talking about it because
Councillor Laws.
Right, so there's no point talking about it. Right, okay. To me, it's an embarrassment that they've actually submitted an application for a last green space that's based in central Seaford. It's in principle because I know for a fact they will not get it. And coming back to what the council said about the dealing with Network Rail, I do deal with Network Rail, and believe you me, if you go anywhere about a mile of any the boundaries, the rules and regulations have come across are absolutely unbelievable, and I support Councillor Olivia Hunman said this proposal should set the new and should not be taken forward. Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to comment? Councillor Bowman?
Sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this comes up fairly regularly, this, especially when the call for sites for our neighbourhood plan, the last Lewis local plan, as well as them putting in their planning applications over the years. And every time we've objected to it, I think the comments from the Secretary of State with regard to why it shouldn't be built on, I think we even have tried to appeal it previously and it was turned down from that as well. And I think there is our evidence to go for that this should not be built on, and even though it's only in principle, the answer's no.
Any more comments?
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I actually agree with Councillor de Bass about Network Vale or whoever owns that land on that bank generally. I'm quite surprised in a lot of ways when the Labour plan was actually being end of the 2018, 19, 20 odd. They didn't really make any comment at all, as far as I could see. So even now, I agree that they should be consulted in this application anyway, just for interest. I'd be interested to know what they do say about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think it's already been said, it has been before us so many times, and I can remember one application even had a windmill. That's going back a few years, but yeah, there's been many attempts, and each time it's been rejected, it's gone to appeal, it's been rejected. And one of the reasons it's supposed to stay as a green corridor between the Fourth Estate and Surrey Road. And so, yes, I'm full agreement with the members of this committee. So we have got a proposal by Councillor Olivia Hunman to object to this in principle application, and seconded by Councillor Lord. So can I have a show of hands, please? And that is unanimous. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody wants to leave at this point, but you're most welcome to stay. LW/25/0690. Environmental Agency, Marine Parade, removal of water cabins and erection of two-storey office and welfare building. Who would like it? Any members of the public? Sorry. Councillor Bass.
Yes, last summer was... Hi. Last summer was designated a protected site when they stopped the Buckle development years ago. IFS got involved and the planning application was thrown out and it became a protected site, and it has a name, but unfortunately I can't remember that name. But when I spoke to Lewis about it, they said that that protection had been removed. So can Seaford Town Council look at having the Buckle car park, both the industrial bit and the northern bit, put on protected status again, please? And also, I'm concerned that I'm not sure if it's going to be any bigger, that area, but will it deflect parking to other areas? Because I've got residents complaining about Buckle Close. And I missed it on the parking review, so would I be allowed to submit an email subsequent to this meeting about the concerns on Buckle Close if there are any deferments of parking spaces? Thank you.
I think Buckle Close is included in the parking review.
I couldn't remember if I'd sent you the email or not, so that's good, thank you.
Sorry, to answer Councillor de Bass, to to give a bit of background, it was registered as a community space. So it hasn't really got much protection, and it can't be a local green space because it is obviously a car park. But both sides, including the lorry side, the park of the EA, was put under community space. Whether that's been removed, I don't know. But the objective of it is that if it wants to be sold, we, as it's in our town, would have to get first refusal on whether we buy it or not. And that would be down to officers to then investigate. That's the rules of Councillor Warraven is nodding her head because I think you remember at the time that we only get first refusal if it's to be sold. So I hope that helps. But maybe officers could you look into that, Councillor Dubas, on the status of it now? Thank you.
Thank you.
Does that help?
We're actually talking.
We're around a long time.
Thank you. Right, open to the committee. So, Councillor Lord, do you want to go?
Yeah, thank you. Perhaps I mentioned at the joint, I thought we were replacing the two cabins inside the brick compound with a brick office. It's nothing to do with the car park. Have I got it wrong? No. So, with due respect to council, it's nothing to do with the car park. The two porta cabins which are inside the actual brick compound, which have been there for since I've been here, I think, more than 30 years, replacing them. So it should have no detrimental effect on the car parking because it's simply one thing inside another. Is that correct? Have I got it wrong? Oh, so I support the application.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Coleman.
Thank you, Chair. I'd actually like to second that. So yes, the Environment Agency is very much needed for our town. They protect our beaches and protect the housing from the sea. Their porta cabins have been there for a very long time, and we know porta cabins don't last forever. So the fact that the removal of the porta cabins and the erection of a two-storey office and welfare building means they're going to be here supporting our town for a lot further in the future. I'm very happy to support.
Excellent. Councillor Lilly.
I was going to say something similar to what Councillor Foreman said. I think this is really important that we give them a more permanent setting that they want. And as they said, it's the welfare building as well. And they do a lot in this town, and it just helps as a base in this area. So I support this proposal as well.
Any more comments? No. So we've got it proposed by Councillor Lord, seconded by Councillor Foreman. Can I have a show of hands, please? That's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alright, planning applications received in the week commencing Monday 19th January. LW/25/0732 9A Sutton Park Road, second floor roof conversion from pitch roof to mansard roof, not mansard roof, to form new bedroom stroke bathroom. Who would like to lead on this one? Councillor Buchanan.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I've had a fair look at this. I would support this application. There's very little visual impact on the change to the mansard roof compared to the pitch roof before, and it improves the accommodation at that level.
Councillor Olivia Hunter.
I'm happy to second that because I had a look at that as well, and again, I did have to look up where the mansard roof was, but yeah, no, I didn't know the term. And so, yes, I thought this was fine to agree to this.
Thank you. Any other comments? So, proposed by Councillor Buchanan, seconded by Councillor Olivia Newman. Now show of hands, please. That's unanimous. Planning applications received in the week commencing Monday the 26th of January. ESCC/2025/001/CB, Chington Brooks. The restoration of intertidal habitat at Chington Brooks through the managed breaching of the tidal flood embankment and associated minor earthworks to improve hydraulic functioning and biodiversity. Who would like to lead on this one? Who's that? Councillor Chittam.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, there's many documents here from many professionals, and I have to really rely on their expertise about what they want to do on the west side of and the associated workers. It's called as such. So I would support what they're trying to do. Thank you.
Councillor Bond.
Thank you, Chair. I was involved as an outside body representative for Chington Brooks many years ago when this first came into discussion, and I actually started learning things about why they wanted to do it and the different types and different ways they could do it, but then they had to do lots of reports and investigations into what might work, what could be the knock-on effect of doing something in the future because it's not just the area, it's the knock-on effects of around all the way around and the sea and further up the river to Alfriston and further along. And this has taken many years to get to this stage, so I'm quite pleased that it has got to this stage because at one point we were wondering whether it ever would. So I'm very happy to support this application.
Second. Councillor Olivia Newman.
Thank you. Obviously there was lots and lots of different reports on there. I didn't read them all in the end, but what I looked at was one about public rights of way, and they objected to the application due to the rerouting all the different paths. That's something that concerned me as an issue. I was going, listen, but I was then concerned about the public rights of way, so I'm in two minds now about whether I should or shouldn't agree to this. Obviously, it goes to another committee to do. But I was concerned about the objections from public rights of way people. I'm not really sure where else to go with that because I couldn't write down copious notes for what they'd done. So yes, I am. Obviously, they've suggested why they've got to be done because obviously the area is straight down 1846 agricultural use, but it's the rights of way that concern me about the rerouting of those at this moment in time. So I'll be interested to hear others' comments.
I too was an outside body rep for the Chington Brooks project, perhaps a little bit more recently than yourself. And that was very much focused on increasing biodiversity, particularly migrating birds, which sounded very exciting and thoroughly worthwhile. I have had some people from around the coastal cottages explain their concerns about rights of way, but I think it very much depends on the alternative, that they have to break the public rights of way to allow the ingress of the water in and out, and it depends on the quality of the path around the contours, some of which includes town council land, because my view is that if that can be made much more accessible and acceptable to a wider number of people, it may actually improve the environment itself, rather than having two paths, one of which doesn't flood and doesn't get too muddy, and is a straight along the cut, as opposed to the one that gets very muddy. If that one can be improved, as I gather the National Trust are doing, and it becomes more similar to the other side, I think that's a win-win, to be honest, because I think it'll make it a more interesting walk, and it will preserve and enhance the biodiversity, particularly bird life, that will be coming in to nest and feed. So I think it very much depends on the rest of the programme as to whether we think that the loss of the right of way is justified or not. I personally think it is.
Thank you. Councillor Lodge?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Thank you. We've recently we've altered 3 public rights of way, and provided a right of way is longer than the one that you're replacing or altering, then in honesty it's not too complicated. I don't know why it is what it is, but we've altered 2 public rights of way across 2 basic pieces of open land. And they've been very good with us. They've been very helpful, very cooperative, and like I say, if you're making it shorter, they want us to entertain you. Provided you're making it longer, for a reason, I don't know the reason for this, like I said, they've been very good with us, and English Heritage have done as well. So yeah, I know people say about the right of ways, and the Ramblers Association, and they're quite good if you work with them. So I understand where you're coming from, and I understand your concerns, but in actual fact, provided it's longer, then there's no real concern for various green people with green credentials, because that appears to be what the law is for some reason. I don't know why, but I say longer the better, and you're happy.
Thank you. Councillor Buchanan?
Oh yeah, thank you, Chair. Probably a bit of a nebulous thought, but there's a significant biodiversity net gain associated with this project. Would Seaford Town Council have any benefit from that in some way, or now in the future? I don't know how to begin to answer that question, but it's a thought to take away, I think.
The only comment I had was I found out earlier this evening, I did pick up that the Dupont there would get flooded because it's natural water, because the seawater will encroach it because it's great crested mews. I've been told this evening they are going to remove the mews up to a higher pond, so that was the only concern I had. As I said, that was ironed out. But there was an awful lot of reading on that before to take in. Yeah, so well done everyone. Okay, so we've got a proposal by Richard Honeyman and seconded by Councillor Borman. Can I have a show of hands, please? That's unanimous, thank you. LW/25/07309 Sutton Park Road, single story, rear ground floor parapet wall extension to form a new cafe/bar premises. Let's read on this one. Councillor Borman.
Thank you, Chair. It doesn't seem that long ago that we were looking at exactly the same thing, apart from there was a little bit more detail on what that cafe and bar was going to actually offer seafood. And then there was many objections from members of the public. We objected to it, and I'm not sure whether it got withdrawn or whether it was refused. I can't remember. I think it was withdrawn. Yeah. I think it was withdrawn, yeah. And suddenly we have it back again, very slightly differently, but without what he's going to use it for, apart from a cafe and a bar. But my objection is still the same, the fact that that is in a very enclosed area. Where it sits, it's surrounded by tall buildings with the library, you have Tesco's, HSBC, you have, I can't think of the name of the Hawksley, which means being that far down, it's just going to echo, reverberate any noise around there. It does mention hot foods, although it doesn't specify what, but that's going to be the same objection we had last time with regard to the hot food, the smell, and it will go upwards, it will just sit in that area. So my objection is still exactly the same reasoning for that we had last time.
Thank you. Councillor Olivia Hunter. Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I read this one and I thought, they've opted to enclose it, but my concerns, even though it says no alcohol and it's going to be thermally insulated, I still think it's right at the back. Sorry, it is at the back and you've got residents. I noticed when I looked on, I think Monday for this one, there wasn't any objections. I don't know if there's any since with this site being done here, but I was still concerned about it being at the back and residential area and everything else. So I was still thinking I need to object to this one as well because I just think it's the wrong location for it.
Are you seconding?
I'm seconding that.
Councillor Buchanan.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure on what basis we might object to this. The amount of acoustic problems that will come from that space are very limited. It's an enclosed area. The potential to ventilate with a recirculating hood actually exists, but there are limits to what you can use that kind of hood for. That's another thought. I would find it difficult to object to it from that standpoint, because the original objection was actually for noise, because there was an open space on that original planning application at the back, and the main issue, I think, was the issue about the shisha fumes and the process. So this is a different kind of application.
Thank you. Councillor Richard.
Thank you. We don't really need it on there, do we? But
yeah, you do.
We do for the microphone. Yeah, thank you again. I mean, legislation on the use of the paraphernalia. I don't know. I've forgotten what the bits are called. You know, I don't know if they're provided when you go into these bars and I assume it's the user at port of entry it's the health side. It's all clean and attached just to the equipment. So you've got that side of things. I don't know what legislation is on the cafes which have that paraphernalia anyway. But aside from that, are the customers meant to be people who use the barbershop, or is it a bit separate entity, or it's not really clear cut, and maybe we haven't got as far as that really?
I think the entrance to the cafe stroke bar is going to be at the side. So you go up the side entrance and then the entrance to the cafe. So as the previous application, it was through the barber shop.
Thank you. So even though it's connected to the barber shop in that sense, it's the same management.
So we've got the barber shop, the tanning room, and then there'll be the cafe.
I mean, it's more full time compared to the previous time, and as the same architect as the previous application where we've dealt with number 9A, Maisonette. But I still don't think it's far enough. I think at the moment I'm not really happy at the moment with the situation, so I probably wouldn't support it. Thank you.
Thank you. My comment is that it's taking up the whole of the back garden, which goes against our neighbourhood plan. I think this is also making note of it. And the neighbourhood plan does say the property will be expected to retain a garden area with the rear extension. So basically I agree with the rest of the committee that I'm not happy with this application. And so, and also it's the if there's a fire, where do people go? So I have great concerns for it. So we have got a proposal by Councillor Bodman, seconded by Councillor Olivia Munnerman. So can I have a show of hands to object to this application? Yes, you can't object to all. Just thinking what objection is based on. All right. So we can just
through Chair, just the points that I've noted from the discussion that you've had. I mean, the last time it was the objection was on overdevelopment of the site, which we mentioned here, and we mentioned the neighbourhood plan, and it was about noise and the health impact. But for this time round, I've taken note that we're looking at overdevelopment and noise being the main points, so we're not going to be including exactly the same from last time. So just to confirm that, and the overdevelopment and the use of that, loss of.
Okay, all members happy with that? So can I have a show of hands of objecting on those reasons? And those against? Those abstaining? Well, thank you. LW stroke 26 stroke 0018, 3 Meadow Way, single story, first floor, rear extension, replacement of existing conservatory with 2-story rear extension and alterations to the existing fenestration. Who would like to lead on this application? Councillor Munnerman.
Chair, it's all the rear extension, and the last time I was happy to support this one because wasn't really much. Okay, I was happy to support this one.
Thank you. Is that like a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Gorman. Any other comments? Can I have a show of hands of supporting this application? Thank you. There were no planning applications received on the 2nd of February, so we now go on to tree growers applications. And I would like to say that every tree application that came in, we've actually got photographs this time. Better. So we start with TW stroke 26 stroke 0001 stroke TPO 3 Chington Lane. I'm not going to read out the trees.
Sure, so I suggest we support it because...
can you use the microphone, please? Councillor Lord.
Of course I can, Chair. Yes. Thank you. What they're proposing to do is exactly what I do at work, and I will support this application. I mean, the oaks are nice and tidy. It's not the growing season, it's not the bird nesting season, and it'll make them healthy and strong for till the next time they come down for some pollen. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Is that like a seconder? Councillor Hammond, would you like to comment? Any other comments? So can I have a show of hands of support in this application? That's unanimous. Thank you. TW stroke 26 stroke 0004 stroke TPO 12 Staying Road. Anybody want to comment on this? Councillor Law?
Oh, if you don't imagine it. Well, actually, 4 metres is about 12 foot, which is a lot, but if it's all hanging in neighbour's garden, and it will eventually create a nuisance. I think it's better that this actually do a 4 metre 12 foot pollard in it, and it prevents misgivings between neighbours, and when you get involved in neighbour disputes with trees, it's nothing short of a nightmare. So yes, I propose this particular application. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Is that my second? Councillor Buchanan, do you want to comment? Can I have a show of hands supporting this application? It's unanimous. TW/26/0005/TCA Sussex Cottage, Upper Belgrave Road. Unless anybody wants to comment, I'll hand over to Councillor Lord.
Thank you, Chair. Well, all I can say is that it's repollarding to previous points, so it just shows how fast a tree can grow from the last time it's pollarding. I wouldn't probably guess about 8-10 years ago it's pollarding, and it's gone back up again in the last 8 to 10 years. So they actually grow faster when a tree is pollarded or cut back. It's like cutting back a rose or something like that. They grow stronger and faster. And because it matches the previous points, which it actually does it good because the tree will maintain structural integrity. So let's say that again, it's a driveway, the neighbour's private garden, this, that and the other. And so I'm involved in neighbourhood disputes with trees as part of my job, and I absolutely hate it. The word prevent is absolutely music to my ears. So I suggest we support this application as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. As I find seconder, that's Olivia Magman. And can I show of hands supporting this application? That's unanimous. Lastly, SDNP/25/04976/TCA land at the site of Bishopstone Place, Bishopstone Village. Councillor
Yes, I support this application, and I did. It was a joke about the little red line that they've just put on next to where we're cutting it, which I thought, and we got a picture, so, and it's a poplar, and poplars get enormous.
Yeah, I know quite.
So, yes, I was happy to propose this. Obviously, 5 metres is quite a lot again, and also then they take out the epicormic race as well, so yeah, I was happy to support that.
Thank you. Second, thank you, Councillor. And can I have a show of hands to support this application? That's item 7, update report, page 52. That is page 55. Sorry? About this one there?
That's it, Bendis 57.
Right. Committee is asked to note the report, decisions on planning applications, updates on highway matters. Is there any comments? Councillor Bournemouth?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, it's just disappointing that Lewis District Council chose to approve 12 Clementine Avenue. Oh, I've misread that.
Very good, yeah, sorry. That's okay. Okay, any other comments? So unless there's no other comments, I'd ask the committee to note the report. Show of hands of noting. Thank you. That's noted. And lastly, I just would like to thank Councillor Bournemouth for standing in for me while I've been away. I'm sure she's done it brilliantly.
You better watch this space.
And that concludes the meeting at 9:01. Thank you, everyone.